I didn't think that any other one would top it until 2023 happened. It was so obvious, so clear to even an unborn child that Atiku had won the election. What did Atiku do? His body language from day one, lackluster, lackadaisical. He didn't care. People were screaming, go to court, do this. Even going to court he was so reluctant. Even to call, he just didn't care. It was so bad I had to make a video I had to make a video. I'm like, how can you guys say you did, this was all a plan? Atiku was not interested in becoming president. He was just interested in making sure that Buhari's presidency was preserved on behalf of the colonial powers. As clear as day. Now look what happened in 2023. It was the turn of the South, because Buhari had then finally finished with the 8 years that belonged to the North. You would expect that Atiku would rest, or at least find a Southerner that he loves and support the person. Atiku still came in to contest when it was the time of the South, knowing fully well that when it was the time of the North, no Southerner was there out front saying, I want to contest. Atiku still came because he was used to destroy the P2B's chances in 2023. A tool. P2B still flawed all of them, showed them like it was crazy what happened. Everybody knows what happened. Despite all that, we are here in 2026. The time of the South still. Atiku is still here to contest. So, what do you think Atiku is after? He's not after the presidency of Nigeria. The man is going to be 80 years at some point this year. In 2026, he'll be 80 years. Tell me why Atiku would not rally all the political stalwarts that he knows and tell them, let's go and support this Southerner. If Tinubu has done so badly, if Tinubu is so disliked and everybody wants Tinubu out, and Atiku hates Tinubu and hates his administration, which basically serves the interest of colonial powers from head to toe. If Atiku hates that, why would Atiku not identify one Southerner, even if it's not P2B, a Southerner, and say, we will support you to take power from Tinubu, because it is the time of the South. Atiku, you are a Fulani Northerner. Why are you contesting when it is the time of the North and the time of the South? 2 times when it is the time of the South. Because you are a perfect spoiler for the colonial powers. A tool, well-made tool in their hands. That's why they went and formed ADC. When ADC was formed, I told my friends, I said, watch. These guys are going to use this to cage P2B. Because, Peter had the platform of Labour Party when they destroyed the PDP, undermined it, sabotaged it because of him. So he went to Labour. Labour performed beyond their widest imagination. They couldn't believe it. And then they decided, we're going to destroy Labour. And they went after Labour, dismembered it, brought nomads to come and claim that they were factional leaders. And when Labour was too hard for Peter, he took off. And the next place he found himself was ADC. And they went after ADC. ADC suddenly had factions again, just like Labour. Everything they did to Labour, they did to ADC. And Atiku was in there, and they were having their convention and doing all this nonsense, and they still could not come together to say, hey, let's support this man. Rather, it became clear and obvious that everyone was now navigating towards Atiku becoming... How How do you explain that Atiku, the biggest so-called coalition of opposition parties, is throwing Atiku up as the opposition candidate to go and fight against Bola Tinubu when it is the time of the South to be president? That in and of itself is a disqualifier from day one. Even people who don't like Tinubu will immediately say Atiku for what? How can we now go and vote a northerner again when you guys took your 2 terms under Buhari? And it is the time of the southerner. You now want us. Does that mean that you guys are the overlords? That you guys, I mean, there are so many reasons why even people who hate Tinubu would want to vote him because of that alone. You are not honoring and respectful of that arrangement which the southerners have respected all these years. Are you telling me Atiku didn't know all of that? Are you telling me the guys who are his co-travelers in that ADC didn't know all of that? You want to tell me they don't know that? They do. They are just tools. The ADC itself was a creation of the establishment forces, which of course are funded by the colonial powers and their stooges. All of these, you see, are all by the establishment. They are all by the establishment. The colonials panic more than you think every day. They worry that if they lose Nigeria, what is happening to France now after losing Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger will begin to happen to them overnight. You see how that France, a British news network, GB News, just came out a few days ago and said that France is sliding into the ranks of third world countries just because they lost only 3 nations. Nigeria is more than those 3 nations. If they lose, the British will go through hell. I know they have Canada, they have Australia, they have all those places. But if they lose Nigeria, this is what they worry about. And that's why they are ready to spend any... They don't mind selling one of the nations they own. Because the British, they own nations around the world. Nations you think are constitutional entities that are independent with presidents. They own them, including Nigeria. And they're ready to sell about 2 or 3 of those to make sure they keep Nigeria. That's why they have Atiku there. Atiku is not interested in presidency. He's only there to be the spoiler. You saw the video. I played it. I made it 6 years ago, exposing this guy. That's why Peter made the smartest move ever. His decision is the best decision ever. He doesn't need an establishment vehicle or political party. All he needs is just a legal entity, a political party that is legal. It doesn't matter if it came into being yesterday. The Nigerian people are with him. You see, as I'm rounding up, let me tell you something you need to take to bed when you go to bed today. Peter Obi is not a perfect man. A lot of Igbo elites have a problem with Peter Obi. So many people don't like him. And a lot of people are asking, what is it that all these people are even seeing in Peter Obi that they are following him? You don't understand. Peter Obi is not the one driving the movement or choosing the movement. The movement chose Peter Obi. Peter Obi is a product or a representation of the agitation, of the tiredness, of the frustration of the average Nigerian who has for the longest time ever been knocking on heaven's door, asking God, why can't we be free as humans to pursue our individual dreams? Why can't we live in a place where humans live rather than being in an animal farm? Why can't we live as people? Nigerians, they went through NSARS. You killed them. They put their hopes in Atiku. Atiku betrayed them. Showore, that had become a joke. Everywhere Nigerians turn, it's always been frustration, frustration. And then they eventually ended up with one guy, P2B. It is that agitation, it is that passion, it is that desperation that threw up P2B. P2B didn't create the obedient movement. The obedient movement is a grassroots organic movement that had been there. It is only bearing that title obedient because the figurehead that they have chosen to represent their anger and pain and frustration is a man called Obi. So it's called obedient. If Obi is not there, you will realize it is a movement of disenfranchised, disgruntled, disappointed Nigerians who have been for the longest time looking for a breather. It is their pain. It is them that you call obedient. That's why obedient movement is not made up of Igbo people. It's not made up of only Yoruba people. It's not made up of only Hausa people. It's made up of people from every part of Nigeria. Because the people are tired. They picked Obi and say, stay here. That's why they told him clearly, if you are in any party and you are not a presidential candidate, you are on your own. P2B couldn't have become the vice president to anybody because the movement that chose him had given him a mandate and given him a marching order. This is what we want. He can never disobey his base because the base chose him. He didn't create or choose the base. The base chose him. And the reason they chose him is because he keeps telling people to go and verify. And nobody has been able to verify and come out to say you are lying. No matter how you feel about him, Nigerians have chosen him and he's going to take them to the promised land. Whether he wants it or not, God will make it happen.